My name is Marek Kiisa, managing partner at Nordic Ninja. Nordic Ninja is a founder-led VC fund in Europe, the biggest Japanese-backed VC fund. We have done 20 investments in our fund number one and approximately 4 investments in fund number 2. And we have quite an interesting overview of what's happening on the mobility side. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later. But now I would like to introduce our guests to the panel. Timon Rupp, who is a founder of The Drivery, an entrepreneur, an innovator. Then we are having Nick Tsukimoto, CEO of Honda Innovation, a successful entrepreneur, VC, and one of the, I would say, founding investors to Nordic Ninja. So that's the background. I'm from the beginning, when I was young, I was driving karting, I was driving Formula racing cars, so I have been quite a petrol head in the past. But now I'm sitting as a board member of a company called Einride, which is the world's biggest electric truck self-driving company. And this is also have been like a mental transformation for myself. And I would say that the logistics are going to change. We see that combustion engines are transforming to electricity. There are very new challenges on the road, which is charging. At the same time, these self-driving trucks are lowering the speed. And why? Because goods are never on a hurry. So if you are lowering the speed, then you are saving tons of energy, as we know, engineers from the past. And this is only allowed if these vehicles are going to go self-driving mode, because the driver currently is forcing these vehicles to drive 90 kilometers per hour. Otherwise, goods would never do it. They are happy to drive also 30 kilometers per hour. So today's topics would be energy, definitely. Then we are talking about vehicle types. And then we are talking also about modes of transportation. But now I would like to give the word to you, Timon. We are starting from you. What is The Drivery? And then tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah, good question. I wonder myself sometimes. Let me start and go a little bit into the past. In the past, a car could be built by an electrical engineer and a mechanical engineer, like Ferdinand Porsche, one of the first pioneers. But recently, in the last 10 years, things got changed a lot. Mobility innovation got much more complex. We have more components, more technology to integrate. We have much shorter disruption cycles. And I think what has not changed in the same speed is the structures of our industry, the processes, the way we collaborate in the industry. And that's with The Drivery. I found a platform, a marketplace that makes it easier for corporates, for governments, startups, investors to work together. It's a candy place, kids in a candy store. It's highly effective. And in a sum, it's accelerating innovation in mobility. So we host incubators, accelerators, but also government agencies. And when you're there in Berlin, but we also subsidiary in Japan and in China, feel welcome to have a look. And our mission is really to accelerate mobility innovation in a very, very effective manner for a better world and more sustainable world.
Thank you. Nick, tell us shortly about yourself first. You're a very colorful person. Okay. And then please, some words about Honda innovation and your view on today's world.
Sure. Well, thank you very much for having me. My name is Nick Sugimoto. I go by Nick. Since I lived in Silicon Valley for 29 years, I'm too Americanized. So my friends gave me a American nickname. But anyway, Honda started Open Innovation Program about 20 years ago in Silicon Valley. And that's the time I was actually recruited to join that team. That was a very small team, like 4 people. Started a CVC program, very experimentally. And also we went into venture community and started to scout great technologies and connect them with our Honda R&D teams. And we play the role of catalyst to see what happens by mixing those two together. Then we evolved into more collaborative POC development lab in Silicon Valley. And about 2 years ago, we added back our equity investment as a strategic tool to that program. So now we have both equity investment capability as well as concept prototype development capability together. And we call this program Honda Accelerator Program, Accelerator Ventures Program. We replaced A of accelerator with X to exceed what typical accelerator does. And also we added ventures at the bottom to express our interest in equity investment as well. We have in total about 25 people right now globally. Half of them are in Japan, and the other almost half are in Silicon Valley, and 2 people in Germany, actually in Drivery, and 1 person in Tel Aviv. So we are meeting with great startups globally and connect them to relevant Honda business units as well as Honda R&D teams. So yeah, we made, since 2 years ago, about 5 investments, and we made 1 acquisition. So in a sense, we are sort of strategic corporate development team for Honda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's move forward with the hypothesis that I was proposing about the energy, how to move forward these fleets in the future. So what we have seen at the Einride that it goes to the direction of electric. So this is the easiest to take the next step towards autonomous. But there are quite a lot of challenges how to set up the charging stations, the whole infrastructure, plus you need tons of electrical energy to replace these combustion fuels. So world biggest combustion engine producer, Honda. So Nick, please, what's your view on this?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Honda produces about 30 million internal combustion engines per year, and 5 to 6 million goes to automobiles, 20 or so go to motorcycles, and the rest goes to other products like lawn mowers, power generators.
Right.
But recently, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, the new CEO of Honda stood up and declared that we're going to be totally carbon neutral company by 2050. And we're going to stop making internal combustion engine cars by 2040. This is a huge statement. It's just a big paradigm change for our business. So, so yeah, to do that, also to achieve that, we announced our new equity investment program. So that's how we added equity investment as a part of the program. And also, besides carbon neutral, we are going to achieve zero fatality involving Honda products. Like no people die on Honda motorcycles or Honda cars. That's the goal we made. So to achieve that, obviously Honda by ourselves cannot do it. It's a huge change. So we started to partner with many startups, and since then we made 5 investments in startup. And also we coordinated. We are coordinating almost at any time, like 30 to 50 technology collaborations between Honda and the startups globally. So it's a big shift from our viewpoint. So yeah, that's
Okay.
that's what we do.
So, Timon, what's your thoughts around energy? Is it electric, or?
Well, the future, without doubt, in mobility is electric. I have no doubt on that. Where I have probably a different opinion is the speed on how quickly the transformation will happen. Right now, I think what the products we have in the market are not yet at the performance range. If I look at the batteries and the cost range that is attractive to the market. On the other hand, infrastructure is also lacking sometimes behind what is required from the customer side. So the big challenge and the determination factor of how quickly the transformation will come is to synchronize how different players interact in this new market. I think this is sometimes missing. We have the battery makers, we have the infrastructure makers, the construction companies, the government, the energy guys, the auto guys. And sometimes it's kind of, we are not playing in an orchestra, right? It's not well dedicated, it's not a project with milestones, different work streams. Everyone is rushing with its own speed, sometimes too slow, sometimes too fast. And this creates a situation, at least in the European market right now, where things get really difficult because the effort is not synchronized. The technology is probably there, but we don't get the horsepowers, the electric horsepowers onto the road right now. So I think the way to collaborate within the different industry sector will determine how quickly this will happen.
What we do see at Einride that there must be always a orchestrating layer. Einride has been from day one building up a platform called Saga, which exactly knows where to put or place the charging stations. So the vehicles are collectively collecting the data for that purpose. And I think that it would be several platforms who will be connected with these future vehicles. So we have not seen these. Okay, Tesla has their own network, so they are in an advantage situation, but all the others have not been starting to cooperate on that level. So, but would you see any alternatives also for electricity?
No, it's for me.
Yeah. So start with Nick. Alternatives. Hydrogen. Is it still? We have been talking about hydrogen for 20 years already. So, but it has never been something like this. So it's still electricity.
Well, you never know. There's something called white hydrogen.
Right.
Hydrogen might be buried underground, and you can dig. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it's a source of energy, right? So mobility requires energy. So far, petroleum-based, gasoline or diesel, but going forward, electricity. Then the question is, okay, where does the electricity come from?
Right.
How do you generate that? Nuclear, or coal, or still petroleum, or what?
Right.
Right. So it's not just a question about the car company. It's the entire society. How do we cope with this carbon problem and still generating enough energy to support the society? So we are betting on two things: electric vehicle on a vehicle, and hydrogen on a vehicle.
Right.
But that's only part of the picture. We also need to discuss how we generate the electricity. So and we believe car companies' responsibility doesn't just sit on the car. We also need to extend our effort to energy side as well. So one example is we invested in a very interesting company out of Israel called NTTAL, who does the nuclear fusion reactor in a container size, not like a huge power plant, like Tokamak nuclear fusion.
Okay.
So it's a very unique idea. Still, a lot of development is needed for the technology, but that's one bet we made to answer that question. Another company we invested in, actually Germany, is called Inerotech, who does synthetic fuel from CO2 in the air.
Okay.
So it's a carbon capture as well as creating a liquid fuel. So it's totally carbon neutral. So yeah, we are making a number of different approaches and to solve that problem, not just on the car, but also entire energy ecosystem and eco-cycle.
What's your thoughts, Timon?
Well, to add on that, I think this topic e-fuel is still out there somewhere. It's not yet proven to have the cost factor, and actually the whole energy equation is doable, but it's one option that is still out there. I think what is important is to think the elements as one string. The energy generation, transportation, storage, and usage. And today, it's still, in often cases, it's fragmented. Different companies, different startups working on different elements. But at the end, when they try to put the string together, we have fracks inside. And there's still a lot of opportunity for startups to look exactly where these gaps are, where these big players not having the interfaces to interact efficiently. But at the end, energy needs to be sustainable, and it needs to be affordable, and it needs to be available. And this is the equation. And very often, one of them is not in yet, but there is the opportunity to invest, to innovate, or identify something at the end. But hydrogen is also just a form of storing, right?
Right.
And battery technology, I heard this is carbon batteries that are coming up. China made some big moves here right now. There's a lot of upside potential in storage, especially as well. And then the generation is also not so critical anymore. Yeah.
Okay, so now we touched energy. Let's move forward with vehicle types. So what kind of vehicles would we see in the next future? Or I'm going to comment from my side. So I have been switching myself to a very small electrical vehicle that I'm driving in the cities. Usually, if it is a longer ride, then it would be a train always. And of course, the flight is the next mode. What's your thoughts on vehicle types? Start with Nick.
Well, by definition, mobility is very personal thing, right?
Okay.
So everybody has a different reason to go different places at different times. So mobility should be personal. So on the same token, from economic viewpoint, mass transportation actually realizes a very low cost mobility. But you need to compromise, right? You need to wait for your train or your airplane to carry you to the destination, sitting very small seat next to each other, confined in an airplane for 10 hours from Germany to Tokyo, right? So, yeah, there are many different variations of mobility, I think, in the future. But for low cost, a cheap transportation, probably mass transit, like public transportation. For very personal experience, personal needs, that's very more customized personal mobility type of vehicle. So passenger vehicle, which we make today, well, still is going to be a mainstream for that purpose, I think. But depending on the location, like in the city, let's say robotaxi, maybe the car should be just for 2 people, right? Because most taxis carry just one passenger and the driver today. So, so yeah, different form factors, different type of vehicles, but I think the future has many different kinds of mobility and different types of vehicles. Could be the Starship, SpaceX Starship. That's mass transit to space.
This is a vertical transit,
Yeah,
so not a
vertical
horizontal one. Exactly.
Right.
So if we have time, then we are going to touch these areas also. But I would like to ask you, Timon, what's your thoughts? And is VTOL something that could be also touched, or?
I mean, first of all, maybe something, the best picture that we all imagined the last couple of years. We said, okay, it needs to be carbon free. We do a lot of sharing. We do the last mile in a different mode of mobility, also multimodal transportation, seamlessly with app, optimized AI, optimized streams, much more comfortable, personalized. This would be the nice picture. Reality is unfortunately a bit different. The current market is going into a direction where mass transportation is still considered as uncomfortable, unsafe. So there's a lot to do in that, and also not sufficiently built in parts of Europe. Tokyo is fantastic in that regard, best practice. But what happened right now, the cars, instead of getting smaller and more efficient, getting bigger and less efficient. Most car companies have discontinued compact cars, small cars, for the reason that the battery packs are not small enough for that form factor. So it doesn't get the range where people say, I buy that car. And they're too expensive, so you don't buy a car when it's small and expensive. So what happens, we get more and more electric SUVs in the European cities right now, which is an unfortunate trend in my eyes. But it might be just a peak and it might backfire. The moment we have affordable batteries, we have more compact cars again and more replacements of big cars in cities. And yeah, the third dimension. This is my favorite topic. I am very sure the third dimension in terms of drones of all kinds will be conquered. There is still some resistance in governments, also people acceptance rate, but we have some nice drone delivery services for emergency medical aid already in Germany. We do intercity transportation, hydrogen drones, half a ton payload, fully autonomous. So there's all infrastructure already developed right now by startups, by the way. That's one of the big areas where startups play a big role. So yes, the third dimension will be conquered. It's simply not enough space on ground to entertain urbanization. So we will go up in the air, I'm very sure about that.
I'm provoking a little bit. So this is the topic that we don't want to touch, but I'm talking about the numbers. So before the war in Ukraine, there was only one drone company. Now there is 1,000 companies building drones. So can you imagine what a testing site it is? In that sense, I think that the drone technologies are going to be boosted from the different angle completely. And I think that what you said currently, that these layers, if we are conquering the next layers, this would be quite a topic. So a question to you, Nick, is Honda also watching on drone technologies or flying cars or these areas?
Yeah, we are already selling flying aircraft, Honda aircraft.
All right.
Honda Jet. It's only $6 million in the price tag. So
Okay.
please consider for every household.
Right.
Yeah, we also announced that internal R&D is working on eVTOL. So, you know, it's not really a car, but many people call it a flying car. So for like 4 or 5 people. So yeah, the vertical mobility. Well, I would say we are calling it 3D mobility.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely Honda's interest, and the fundamental belief or dream Honda has is to make mobility available to everybody for whatever reason, for whatever purpose, to whenever you want. So very ubiquitous, universal mobility is really the goal, and that's what we want to create. So in the air, you know, small flying car, yeah, that's one of the dreams we're working on. It's still a dream, not really a product yet. And some startups are already flying that too. We know that. So so we're putting our R&D effort, assembling the team to create that, you know, future dream, not a car, but VTOL vehicle.
Very interesting.
We're also working on space a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more. What's happening in space, or is it also engines?
Yeah. So yeah, we are working on a few things in the space. One is propulsion.
Okay.
Yeah, we're a mobility company, so propulsion in the space is important. How do we create a very efficient, clean rocket motor?
Right.
Well, I wouldn't call it rocket. It's a little bit different. So, propulsion system.
Okay.
And also, we are working on hydrogen-based energy ecocycle ecosystem on the moon.
Okay.
So, there is a rumor saying, you know, there is ice in the moon.
Okay.
Nobody really identified the ice mine yet, but many people say that there is ice. So if there is ice, there is water. Mm-hmm. From water, we can generate hydrogen and oxygen,
right,
which is an essential source element for human life, as well as propulsion. So we are working on that. We have been working on hydrogen system, including hydrogen fuel cell vehicle, for a long time, many decades already. So we have a lot of knowledge and expertise in that. So we're working on that too.
Very interesting. So I would ask the audience, how many startuppers do we have here? Are there any startuppers? All right, here we go. So what would you like to say to startuppers? What is the area that would be interesting to, or if you were a startupper today, what would you do? And what is the area that you would like to build your product on?
Yeah,
so I know that self-driving is a little bit out of the sight currently, so the floor is yours.
You know, venture capital industry is like this, right? One day they say, wow, self-driving car coming in 5 years, sharing everything, like you said, Tim. So, but after 5 years, they say, well, it didn't work, so we don't know. But, if you're patient enough, you started to see self-driving car already running in San Francisco,
That's true.
right? And other cities as well, that they are expanding. So, so it's different, time frame of the expectation. Venture capital money is impatient money, right? Versus corporate R&D is very long-term vision-based activities. So, yeah, it's just a matter of different time frame. Having said that, we are working with many startups in different areas, energy area, AI and machine intelligence, advanced manufacturing, and different types of mobility ideas. Many different startups we are working with. So if you have an idea to change the world, particularly in energy, sustainability, and mobility, I'm here to talk to you, and let's make the dream come true together. Our corporate slogan is the power of dreams, and we believe in the power of dreams. So let's unite the dreams together and unite the power together and make it happen. So that's a short advertisement from Honda Accelerator Ventures.
Thanks, Nick. Timon, what would you say to today's startuppers? What is the area that you as a startupper would like to tackle currently?
Well, in the Driver we have several hundred startups, and we accompany them from ideation to prototyping to growth phase. And in each of the phases we also offer and making the matchmaking to the investors. And the Driver, we are also investing into startups ourselves. And the hype cycles, you call it, it's really hype cycles. We feel them in a very brutal way sometimes. You said, autonomous driving, blockchain, no one wants to hear about it anymore right now. Sharing, it's difficult. But there are a couple of very, very hot topics right now. And one hot topic is everything around the software-defined vehicle and virtualization of the software-defined vehicle. And we see that a lot of European corporates have not adopted the pace this is requiring, and a lot of startups now going in, offering solutions on how to develop these platforms that you can integrate sensors, lidars, radars, hardware virtually first into a software development platform, Rust-based, whatever, and you can go with it. So a kind of virtual plug-and-play platform, and a lot of startups are involved, and money is there, and a lot of corporates investing. Other thing is the whole topic around robotics, super, super hot. A lot of technology from, robots are also moving vehicles, an autonomous car is a robot, but there seems to be more use cases and applications available right now, from security surveillance, in a restaurant, serving. So all this technology that was for cars, radar, lidar, camera technology, AI, goes into robots right now, and they're accelerating really fast, and a lot of money going in. Honda, famous for robots, right, as well. The third one is, because you mentioned autonomous cars are not so hot, teleoperated cars, drones, whatever. What is teleoperated? So they are not fully autonomous, there's like just remote controlled. Someone is sitting in an office and driving a taxi in another city to a client. So we see teleoperated vehicles are coming, and it's always also a backup later for autonomous vehicles. In case they got stuck in the road, you can still teleoperate them outside. So everything around teleoperating vehicles and robots is quite hot. And of course data, AI, GPT, but you need to be careful. There's a lot of generic stuff, and it requires a good use case and business case behind this GPT and generic AI to have an investor being convinced. They don't jump anymore on just because you mention a buzzword and then here you have my money. You need to convince with a business case. Then a lot of opportunities. So this would be my top 4, I hope. A couple of more, but this would be my top 4 areas to go for.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. So Now I would like to put a dreamer's hat on top of you, and let's talk about the mobility after 10 years. How you would see, from Honda's point of view or your personal view, how this future is going to look like in 10 years, because it has been. It was rushing ahead, and then we have now like coming back a little bit. So let's be the dreamers. Nick.
Well, yeah,
please.
10 years is very long from IT clock,
Right.
but from automobile cycle, 10 years is very short. Typical car development takes 4 or 5 years from scratch, sketch on a paper to real vehicle, mass production vehicle. So it's only 2 models in 10 years. So I would say in 10 years, we probably see more electrified vehicles, some battery electric vehicles, probably more, and a lot of hybrids. Still, ICE-based cars are pretty much everywhere, but the ratio is probably changing little by little. Yeah, some hydrogen vehicle, either hydrogen fuel cell or hydrogen combustion engine vehicle coming to the market. Infrastructure, still not quite sure, you know, but we are making efforts. And more micro-mobility in Tokyo, particularly. You probably saw many, you know, electric kick scooters than other cities now in Tokyo. So it's becoming very popular. What else? Hopefully some vertical 3D mobility vehicles. Yeah. So very different types of vehicles for different types of needs. That's my view.
Okay. So the dreamer's hat to you.
Difficult. And Nick, and building on what you said regarding for car makers, 10 years is a short time. For infrastructure guys, the cities, 10 years is a glimpse of an eye. This is even shorter. So I think the industry will find, in my perfect world, ways to avoid getting stuck to the pace of infrastructure change, make the transfer in more smart ways. Electrification, yes, but probably with more mobile solutions than grid solutions. Hydrogen in big vehicles, trucks, ships, planes, hydrogen planes, big thing, making big progress. We will have a lot of data from space, because we talk about space travel, the whole value chain optimization, traffic optimization through data, upstream, downstream from space, in our clouds, in our devices, in our cars. I think that's for me the highest potential to go for the data and make sense and business cases out of it and improve traffic. I'm very pessimistic about infrastructure. We have expected a lot the last 10 years, nothing came. So I think this will not change the pace, but the data topic, I have big hope that this will bring changes. And the people's brain mindset, ready to accept new stuff that is not there yet, will be there by then, or a little bit earlier even, no?
I'm asking one more question around this topic. So it's electrical planes that are traveling 300 kilometers or something like this. So flying approximately 20 minutes back and forth, like short distances. Do you see the future of these ones also? You are the plane maker, so Nick, what's your thoughts?
Flying eVTOL type of vehicles?
Kind of, yeah. Harta Aerospace is building an electrical plane, which takes 25, 30 people and flies 300 kilometers.
Yeah, definitely. It depends on the battery breakthrough. Well, not only for aircraft, but also electric vehicles as well. Today's battery is too bulky and heavy and too little energy and too expensive, too long to charge, a lot of inconvenience. So definitely we are looking for battery breakthrough.
Right.
And
Still, we are looking for
Yeah,
battery
so
breakthrough. yeah.
aircraft is even
Right.
have a higher hurdle, and also from safety viewpoint, aircraft has to have a lot of redundancy for safety margin. So it's even harder for aircraft to adopt full electric
Right.
as a propulsion than electric automobiles, in my viewpoint.
What's your thoughts,
I
Tivoli?
think two stages. Sustainable air fuels will be the first to be making inroads into aviation, commercial aviation, long haul, or they do it already. Second is hydrogen, because hydrogen has less weight, doesn't have the weight issue of batteries. And then as a third step, the batteries. That would be my take. And I think there's a couple of nice prototypes already flying with hydrogen long distance, because they coped with the pressure or oxygen issue in higher altitudes.
Hydrogen has two problems actually. One is on infrastructure, and the other one is the storage in the vehicle. Particularly in aircraft, the huge hydrogen tank sitting in the fuselage, taking up all the space, doesn't work. No space for a human or cargo.
Right.
And today's hydrogen tank is very heavy. It's carbon fiber based, very, very rigid, heavy tank on board. So that's another breakthrough point we are looking for to
Material, yeah.
make hydrogen really realistic solution for mobility.
Okay, thank you. So time is starting to, we are having only half a minute left here, but what I would like to say that future mobility, or as we are calling moving atoms, it's a very interesting area for startups to go and talk with us. So welcome and thank you for this panel. Thank you, Nick. Thank you. So we had a very interesting talk together with you. So
Thank you, Marek, for excellent moderation.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.